Let's go!
I just had the best workday ever. Today at a private event in New York City, I got some exclusive hands-on time with the new Nintendo Switch 2 and got to try lots of new games, including Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bananza. And if you can't tell it from my voice, I'm so excited to tell you all about it. Hi, I'm MICHAELJOSH, your gadget matchmaker, and over the last decade, I've made it my job to show people around the world that tech can be easy, fun, and exciting. On this channel, I give you special access to the products I review, the events I attend, and all the interesting people I get to meet along the way. So, if you're a Nintendo fan, give this channel a like and subscribe, and I'll help you find the right gadget to match your needs. This is our first look and hands-on with the Nintendo Switch 2 and Mario Kart World. Can you believe it's been 8 years since the launch of the original Switch? I didn't cover it on this channel, but I was a happy camper for many years, up until I took you guys along with me to the New York Nintendo store to pick up my very own Switch OLED in October 2021. When folks ask if I'm a gamer, I always tell them I'm a Switch or Nintendo gamer more than any other console. How could I not? I grew up on Game & Watch, Famicom, and the Game Boy. So I cannot begin to explain how excited I've been ever since I received my invite email from Nintendo. So let's not waste any time. Let's go! As soon as we made it inside, I got to touch the Switch 2 for the first time. First impressions? Despite its larger size, it's still as thin as my Switch OLED, but you can definitely feel how much larger and heavier it is. And while the weight difference is noticeable, it's nothing as heavy as, say, a Steam Deck, despite having a larger display. The Switch 2 rocks a 7.9-inch display, which is up from 6.2 and 7 inches on the original Switch and the Switch OLED, respectively. It's about half an inch taller and over an inch wider than the Switch OLED. Because the display was off, I used this time to check out all the new things. It's got a new kickstand, which is now U-shaped, so it's thinner than the one on the Switch OLED. I'm not sure if that's going to make it flimsier, but it did feel sturdy and it still spans the entire backside just like the Switch OLED. And its angle you can adjust to a full 150 degrees. One little thoughtful addition is that it now has 2 USB-C ports. The first is in the usual spot on its bottom, but now there's a second one up top so that you can charge while in tabletop mode. I cannot count how many times I've had to switch back to handheld mode just so that I can charge my Switch. Another use for that top-facing USB-C port is for connecting a USB-C web camera for a new feature called Game Chat. TLDR, it's like Discord, but it's built into the Switch. So you can voice or video chat with friends while you play. Nintendo is making its own camera, but you can also use third-party ones. And speaking of Game Chat, there's a built-in microphone on top of the device right here. Game Chat is the only feature I didn't get to try out today, but I'm really excited to see what the experience will be like. It definitely makes the Switch more social, and I really wish we had it back in the pandemic when all of us were playing Animal Crossing together. I wish I had the Switch 2 already because the next few weeks are going to be jam-packed with plenty of international travel. And while my life looks like all fun and adventure, there's actually a lot that goes on behind the scenes to keep GadgetMatch running. Content planning, website management, and jogging a million other tasks. If you're in a similar boat, you'll love this video's sponsor, Kinsta. When it comes to managed hosting for WordPress, Kinsta's team of experts can handle the technical side of things, so you can stay focused on everything else. TripAdvisor and NASA are among the thousands of brands that trust Kinsta with their websites. And the reasons? Well, I have 3, and they all start with the letter S. Speed, security, and support. Imagine your website running up to 200% faster, improving not just the user experience, but also your SEO ranking and conversion rates, all while having the peace of mind that your website is protected and safe from threats. And when you do need help, real humans are there to back you up. No AI chatbots here. You get a response within minutes to solve your problems. Who says you need to be a web developer to run a successful website? Which brings me to reason number 4. simplicity. Kinsta's dashboard is designed to be intuitive and easy to use, so you don't have to waste your time troubleshooting. Migrate to Kinsta today and get your first month free. Plus, enjoy a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee. And don't worry, they'll make sure your migration goes smoothly. Just use the link in the description box below or this QR code to get started. Of course, I was most excited to check out the new Joycons. They're bigger too, including the left and right sticks, which is great. But the standout feature is that they attach magnetically. And speaking of magnets, they really attach well and have a more secure feeling when playing compared to the Switch and the Switch OLED, which kind of gives you this wobbly, insecure feeling. All you have to do is press this release button on the back and the magnets kind of just let go and you can pull them apart easily. To attach them back on, you start from the bottom and snap. And I've got to say that snap is pretty satisfying. The Joy-Cons have the same iconic red and blue colorway as the original Switch, but most of the color disappears when you snap them on, with only the outline of color around the left and right sticks. In terms of looks, it's a little less fun, maybe a bit more grown up. Next thing I checked out was the new C button. If you haven't figured it out yet, C stands for chat, and if you press it, it launches game chat. Later on, I also got to try out the new Pro controller, which feels so much better in the hands thanks to a matte finish. It also has the C button. While we have them detached, I also want to point out that the ZL and SL buttons are now larger and made of metal. I never liked using my controllers this way because these buttons are so tiny. These updated Joy-Cons open up a new world of gameplay as they can now be used like a mouse, thanks to this built-in optical sensor. One can be used as a controller, one as a mouse, or both can be used as mice at the same time. When in mouse mode, R or L is left click and ZR or ZL is right click. And while they work perfectly without them, you'll want to use these Joy-Con straps, which have these little rubber-like pads on them and snap on like skates, so they're more comfortable to use in mouse mode. I used them on a couple of games. They were perfect for Civ 7 for a more PC style gameplay, and I've gotta say, it's more intuitive to play the game this way. But where they really came alive was Mario Party Jamboree Switch 2 Edition, where while using the controllers as mice, they can be used to do things like pick up and carry little toads through an Operation style maze, picking up emails and sorting them into folders, or for launching pullback cars. And because of the haptics built in, pulling them back almost feels like you're pulling back an actual pullback car. Speaking of, the haptics on these Joy-Cons is very good. Nintendo calls it HD Rumble 2. I tested it out while playing the tutorial game Welcome Tour, which by the way reminds me of how the PS5 launched with Astro's Playroom, as a way to guide users to learn the console's new features. In this particular minigame, I would drag a controller from side to side, and I'd feel the intensity of the rumble increase. The goal was to figure out where along the line the rumble was the strongest. I think I did pretty good, but I think the point here is those haptics are impressive. Speaking of Welcome Tour, I'm a bit disappointed that you have to pay for this game. It should just be a free download, so Nintendo, if you're watching, you've got 2 more months to rethink this decision. We eventually were ushered into another room where I got to play Mario Kart World. I was dreaming about it all night, and this was definitely the highlight of my day. But first, I finally got to see what the new Switch 2 display is like. While unlike the Switch OLED, the Switch 2 only has an LCD screen, it's now a full HD panel. This fact shocks me, by the way. It's almost silly to think that I've been playing on a 720p screen all these years. It's also now got HDR10 support and a variable refresh rate of up to 120 Hz. Those are all solid upgrades. I loved how massive the screen was. Everything pops because of the higher resolution. Later on, I got to try Zelda Breath of the Wild Nintendo Switch 2 Edition and really got a first-hand look at those improved frame rates, HDR, and higher resolution gameplay. It really does make a difference. And while I was watching Nintendo Direct yesterday and feeling a little bit disappointed about the lack of OLED, after 3 hours of sampling different games, I walked away being very satisfied with the Switch 2's display. One area where I might miss my Switch OLED is in terms of battery efficiencies. You see, despite having a larger battery, the battery life estimates are much lower versus the Switch 2 OLED. It's only anywhere between 2.5 to 6.5 hours depending on what you're playing. Granted, the display is expectedly much more power hungry. Of course, there are some games that are much better played on a TV, and the good news is, while docked, you can now output games up to 4K HDR at 60 frames per second. And one game I can't wait to continue playing is Tears of the Kingdom. I've already finished the game, but there are still so many shrines that I have yet to discover and more Koroks I need to save, so I'm really glad I still have some leftover game to play in 4K. Side note, you've probably heard me say game title and then Switch 2 edition a couple of times, so let me explain what that means. The good news is you'll be able to play all your old Switch games on the Switch 2, and some games that you probably already own will come with update packs. Some of these update packs will be free, some of them will be paid. For example, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom will be free as long as you have a Switch Online membership, most likely because these updates mostly have to do with increased resolution and HDR, while others, like Mario Party Jamboree, will be a paid update because they come with exclusive Switch 2 content and gameplay. It's not really clear how much these updates will be, but it does seem like Switch 2 games are going to cost a little bit more. Mario Kart World, for example, will retail for 80 bucks. Donkey Kong Bananza, 70 bucks. Compare that to many Switch games, which retail for about 60 bucks. That said, Tears of the Kingdom, I think, retailed for about 70 bucks, so it still looks like it's going to depend on the title. And from the looks of it, that $80 price tag is going to be for the digital download edition. The physical copy will cost you $10 more. While Nintendo doesn't say more than it's a custom NVIDIA processor, NVIDIA actually published this on their site today, saying that the new chip offers 10 times the graphics performance as the original Switch and brings support for 4K, real-time ray tracing, and AI upscaling. I played a lot of different games today, and all of them felt buttery smooth. And I can't wait to get my hands on a review device. It will definitely be the most fun review to do in 2025. Also, with all that additional power, I can't wait to see what future games might look like. Accompanying that processor bump is a bump in storage from 32 gigabytes on the OG Switch to 64 gigabytes on the Switch OLED. You now get a whopping 256 gigs of storage, which is a welcome change. It basically means you can have more games installed at the same time. If you run out of storage, you can always pop in a micro SD card, but it's worth pointing out that your old SDXC cards will not work. You'll need the newer, faster micro SD Express. So before you check out, make sure it says SDEX on the label, which is a little bit annoying because I just picked up this really cute Snorlax 1 terabyte card just the other day. The Switch 2 goes on sale June 5th, but pre-orders start April 9th, so mark your calendars. It will retail for 450 bucks, so it will be the priciest Switch yet. There's also going to be a $500 Mario Kart World bundle. Both are the same unit. There's no special colorway for the bundle edition, but you get the game at a $30 discount. Actually, stop the presses. Nintendo just announced today, Friday, that pre-orders for the Switch 2 will be delayed as it considers the potential impact of tariffs. Hopefully, it doesn't get more expensive. Other accessories include, but are not limited to, the Switch 2 Pro controller, $79.99, Joy-Con 2 wheel, $19.99 for a set of 2, Switch 2 camera, $49.99, and a Switch 2 carrying case and screen protector combo, $34.99. Okay, now let's talk about what I believe is going to be the game of the year. Mario Kart World. Let's start from the very beginning. Character selection. There are so many new characters to choose from. You have the usual suspects, some new mobs, including Cow from Moo Moo Meadows, which I actually played with on my first go. And then you have the other characters, but with special outfits. All of these new characters look really good, and the new vehicles look super glossy too. Vehicle selection is so much simpler now. You don't have to pick a glider, so whenever you're in the air, you just automatically get wings, or if you're in the water, you automatically become a boat. If I were to describe this game in one word, it would be chaos, and that's because of how many players you're now racing with. On Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, you start with 12 players. On Mario Kart World, you have 24. So just imagine the amount of bumping into each other, the amount of objects being thrown around in the game. It's crazy, especially if you find yourself in the middle of the pack. This also means it's so easy to go from a leader to bottom of the pack. At one point in the game, I think I was 4th place, and then with a snap of a finger, I was probably like 16 or 17. The game is designed in such a way where you drive from track to track in a linear fashion, so you don't really have a starting line, but more of a rolling start. But don't worry, if you know how to do it, you can still get that boosted start. There's a whole lot of new gameplay added, like being able to grind rails, do tricks while in the air. Apart from the new mobs, there are also new items, and really, as much as I wanted to, I didn't have enough time to explore it all. After some test runs playing on both handheld and then dock mode against my friend Annabong, bored at work, the real race was about to begin. We were all ushered into a big room with 24 players standing side by side to test out a new mode called the Knockout Tour. Basically, there are 6 races that happen back to back to back to back, just continuously, and there are certain checkpoints. At each checkpoint, there's like a bracket, so the first one you needed to finish in the top 16 to qualify for the next race, and then I think it was 8, and then eventually 4. Once you get to 4, those 4 players battle for the top prize. And as luck would have it, you're looking at the Knockout Tour champion. There it is! Yes! While I do love Mario Kart and play it a lot, in fact, my friends David and Michael and I will often do a Mario Kart game night, just the 3 of us, I wouldn't say that I'm the best player. And what's interesting is that throughout all the rounds, I was never in the top seed. I would always literally just hardly make the cut each time. I remember going into the top 4, I was 4th, but then somehow when it mattered the most, I got to 1st and I held my lead till the end. So that's telling it's going to be a very exciting game to play. There's one more game mode in Mario Kart World that I think I'm going to be spending a lot of time just roaming around. It's an open world concept similar to Forza Horizon, where you can veer off the race course and explore the world. Along the way, there are some NPCs that you can interact with, and I didn't get a lot of time exploring, but it seems like there are going to be some extra things that you get to do, some tasks, maybe collecting coins, and who knows what you could use those coins for. My little stint exploring the world took place while I was waiting for the Knockout Tour. Last but not least, I got to play Donkey Kong Bananza. The best way I could describe this game is to compare it to Super Mario Odyssey, just with a different lead character. I love that Donkey Kong, after so many years, is getting his own title again, and we get to play as him. He's fully dressed this time around, and it seems like in this game, the whole Donkey Kong world is obsessed about mining for gemstones. You're mining for ores, you're mining for gems, and the ultimate prize is this banana-shaped diamond. I was able to play through both levels of the demo, and I can't wait for more. I love the open world concept and the platformer style of the game. It's definitely the kind of game that I enjoy playing. But because it's Donkey Kong, there's a lot of brute force, there's a lot of smashing your way through the world or hurling things at obstacles and bad guys. And that was our first look and hands-on with the new Nintendo Switch 2, Mario Kart World, and Donkey Kong Bananza. If you'd like to see more videos like this one, you know the drill, folks. Subscribe to this YouTube channel and hit that bell icon so that you get notified as soon as we upload new videos. Follow me on social media for all the behind-the-scenes fun, travel, and fashion. And for news and updates, make GadgetMatch.com your daily habit. Until the next video, I'm Michael Josh. Thanks for dropping by.